Hello, I want to welcome you to a review of the Pelikan mk10. Now the Pelikan mk10 was a student pen at the time, but it has a few interesting things to it, and definitely a very classy appearance. This was a long-run pen from, I guess, sometime in the late 60s up through the early 80s. Steel-nibbed pen, which is fine. Well, let's take a look at it. So the pen is made out of what they call precious resin, that same shiny resin that Mont Blanc is so famous for. Precious resin does not mean expensive plastic. It actually means that it's a special hardened plastic that's highly polished and very scratch resistant. You've got your little beak-like pen clip. There's a little Pelikan up there. That's really hard to focus on, so we'll just skip that. You got the little divot there. This little trim ring says Germany and then Pelikan, and that's about it. Here's your piston turning knob, which, yeah, you can just make out the seam right there. Slip cap. Now, down here is the nib, which is a steel nib, by the way. Grip section, another trim ring. There is a bluish ink window right here, but the pen is pretty close to full, so you can't see it. One thing, which this is take 2 of the video, unfortunately, so we'll just have to look at my fingers. I have found it leaks a little right around here. Now, I don't actually, maybe I'm not giving it enough credit. Maybe it's not a leak. Maybe it's somehow coming up as I cap it. I really don't know, but I do feel some kind of a leak there. And so I haven't been brave enough to try and take it apart to fix it, partly because I'm not 100% sure how. I'll just show you the feed here, and then I'll set it down and talk a little bit about it. Oh, a winged nib, and worth noting, you see that little gap there in the nib? This is a pen that, if it sits upright, will stop writing for a minute. That's not actually a hardship, and I think it may be a feature, not a bug. And I'll tell you why. It does start writing fairly quickly. But what makes this pen pretty famous is, besides being a student pen, this pen is supposed to be safe on airplanes. You know, when you go on an airplane, you go up high, the pressure changes, but the pressure inside your fountain pen doesn't. So, of course, the pressure inside your fountain pen is like, boop, on the ink and pushes it out of your pen and possibly down your shirt and whatnot. This pen apparently has a complex sort of a feed that prevents that. Now, I have not put it to the test, but that's what I have read. So whether it's true or not, I don't know. But if there is a leak around the outside there, I'm not going to trust this puppy on an airplane. But at the same time, I think that feed mechanism may actually be why this pen, if it's turned upright, the ink drops out of the nib. So, steel nib, fine point. Let's see how this guy writes. I'm filming this review with Noodler's Navy. And see, like I said, the ink isn't in there yet. I'm just giving a little tap on the end. There we go. And see, I'm not going to have any more trouble now unless I turn it upright for a while. So Noodler's Navy is kind of it's a blue, it's an attractive blue, but kind of an off blue. I don't have a good word for it. This is a steel nib. It's got no flex, but it does have some nice line variation. And like I said, it's a winged nib. Wetness and flow. This is not a pen designed to be amazing and show wonderful flowing lines and all the shading. This is a pen designed for students to write in notebooks, possibly with a little bit lower quality paper. So this is not a particularly wet pen. I wouldn't call it a dry pen, but perhaps not as wet as those who like a wet pen would like. Does that make any sense? I don't know. See? And See, I didn't try reverse writing because I've never tried that with this pen, and as usual I don't do that sort of thing. I'm just not into that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just... Okay, it's okay. It's scratchier-ish, but not objectionably so. So let's do a slightly longer writing sample and see how this thing cooks. Oh boy, I've got two Feynman quotes I would love to work into one of these reviews, but they're definitely not family appropriate. Okay, I've got a nice short one from Neil deGrasse Tyson, a really long one from Neil deGrasse Tyson. I want something in the middle. I am running low on quotes. Here we go. Let's go with John Adams. I did him last week, but we'll do him again. Whoops. And see, this pen was just written with and it started right up. If it sits for a while is when the ink disappears. So one of the things I always ask myself when I review a pen is, if something happened to this one, would I buy another one? And I have to say in this case the answer is no. Now, it is a lower cost vintage pen, that's why I was willing to purchase it. It is a very nice writer. It does its job very well, it's attractive, it's one of those slim black pens I like, and on down the list. It ticks a lot of the check marks. One of the reasons is I don't like the leak. That's not the biggest reason. I suppose the biggest reason for me is I have other pens of the same type that do the same thing better. I have a Kaweco V14S, which I absolutely love. I like it better than this. It's meant for the same market, writing in notebooks. And yet it's a much better pen. But does that mean I don't like this pen? No, I like this pen. And that's why this has never been given away or traded or swapped or anything. But, it's one of those that I could probably be talked into doing so if I found somebody with something interesting worth trading. If you're looking for a vintage pen that's fairly easy, this, piston filler, this would be one. This would be a lower cost vintage pen. And it looks good, and it writes well, and it's reliable. And it most likely will be in working order unless its previous owner was a real animal with it. Because nice silicon piston in it, good piston turning mechanism. Of course, the feed is quite good. It is a good quality pen. So, I hope that was useful, hope it was interesting, and I thank you for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.